welcome to the Added Time podcast with me, Alan Myers, and my, of course, able assistant, Tony Grant. And this week we have a special guest with us. I'm not going to mess about. We're going to get straight into it because he's one of my favourite players that I've known down the years. And, of course, a real character as well. Please welcome onto the show, Terry Phelan. Terry, it's great to see you here.
Al, fantastic. Yeah, it's great to be here. T, it's great to be here. Obviously, we've played together at Everton and we played against each other a couple of times and all. I think he gave me a couple of belts and all there, Al.
I was going to say that's not granted, you know. But listen, Terry, what we're going to do, the way we work on the Added Time podcast is we look at the Premier League over the weekend. We look at the EFL a little bit. And then we'll get into talking about your career, which could take us here till next Monday.
Well, it could take you a long time. A very long time, by the way.
Well, listen, Tony, we're going to look back at the weekend as we always do, and we've got to start with the Merseyside Derby, haven't we? I don't really watch this Merseyside Derby.
I caught a glimpse of it. Yeah, I did get a glimpse of it here there.
What did you make?
No, listen, at the end of the day, it's always tough, isn't it, playing against Liverpool, no matter where you're playing against them, whether it's at Anfield, whether it's at, I don't know, Old Trafford. It's always they're always difficult to play against. So I think, Everton, they stood the ground. They went out there. They give it a good go, lapses of concentration in certain areas. I think Jack Grealish has done absolutely fantastic since he's gone there. He's really lifted. I think he's lifted the place up. He's lifted the crowd up. They're very excited. And I think he's done very well in the dressing room and all. The environment. He's created a good environment on there. And he's creating the environment on the field. Liverpool are Liverpool. They've got world-class players, haven't they? But I think David Moyes has got in there. And I think he's done a fantastic job. You look where they are at this present time. I think he's done a fantastic job there. Could he do with one or two more players? I'm sure he could do, like he has come out and spoken about that. But no, I think Everton, they wasn't fantastic, but, they got something out of the game.
Well, listen, Tony, you look at Anfield and, there's that thing about, I don't know how many times we go there and we don't get a win. And do you think it's a mentality thing at this point now?
Well, going into the derby that's just happened on the weekend, Liverpool spent a lonely, unbeaten in the league. Lots of positivity around that club. And on the other hand, we've actually started the season really well. So we're just talking up the game on the weekend. I thought we didn't play the first half like a derby game. I thought we just sort of stood off them too much, like lots of other teams go to Anfield and just stand off them, and most of the time they get beat. But the second half, we turned it into a derby game, and we got higher up the pitch and more aggressive. We ended up winning the second half 1-0. If you're at Evertonian, you want to look that way, the positive. But it shows you that, if you treat the games on your front foot, there's not a great deal in games, considering the amount of money some teams spend or how many games they've won. So I thought it was a missed opportunity, but I think Everton came up with some positives on Saturday and some credit. And obviously Liverpool have come out because they've carried on their unbeaten record.
Well, here's a question for both of you. And both of you, you played in Merseyside derbies and you played in Manchester derbies as well. I presume both of you. Is a derby game a defining game in your season? Is it something which can, because when you look back, and I look back at Everton in particular, and I remember when Andy King scored and at Goodison against Liverpool, Everton hadn't won a derby for 7 years, and then they went on a run later that season. Even when you were there, Terry, you I don't think you played, or you were on the bench, but I don't think you come on when Howard Kendall in 97, 98, and Danik Hadamatri and Michael Ball, I think, penalty scored. And again, we had a couple of decent results after that. I think we maybe drew with Chelsea and Arsenal. Ultimately, it was a bad season, as we all know, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But do you think teams look at these derbies nowadays and think, well, it's just another game, or is it still that same intensity?
It's a great question, because there's a multiple of ways you can look at it. You can look at we'll start with the players. You can look at the players. How many of them was probably from Merseyside? The players were in real. I'm not saying it didn't mean nothing to the players who come from overseas, but the fans itself, they'll generate that electricity. But I do believe when you go on a football field and you're playing in a derby, you want to see blood and thunder, don't you? And that's what the fans want to see. I think nostalgia's gone a little bit because the game's cleaned up a lot more now. The game's really cleaned up.
That punching
You can't go to much, but there was a bit of argy-bargy a few years ago, wasn't there? With the obviously Pickford, the goalkeeper, and I think it was Van Dijk, wasn't it? But I do think, like Tony said there, Everton stood off a little bit. I think they give Liverpool too much credit, if I can say that, too much respect. I think they give them too much respect. But when we played back in the days, there was no respect. You're playing against your friend, but on that ground, he's not your friend. I think that respect is too much now. And I don't mean going around and breaking legs and kicking lumps about each other, but I mean blood and thunder. I mean, I think Roy Keane said it at the Manchester Derby, didn't he? He says, nobody gets any yellow cards anymore. Nobody gets any red cards. I said, you can't go around kicking people like that now. But I do believe, like, you've got to be on the front foot and all. But, when you do look at derbies now, I still think the nostalgia's there with the fans, because you go into work the next morning. I think that's still there. You don't want to lose a derby. But I don't think it defines the season, does it? Two games, I don't think it defines the season.
But have Everton fans got a right, though, to demand more from, say, the manager, the players,
Well,
when they kick off that game? I know you're saying we didn't have that intensity in the first half.
yeah,
Can the fans demand that must be there from?
of course, fans demand that whether you're playing Liverpool or whether you're playing Accrington Stanley. It doesn't matter who you're playing for that. But you talk about mentality, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because in big cities, you talk about Manchester and Liverpool. That'd be Liverpool. It's a huge game, Man U, Man City. And for me, the games are always tight, nearly always tight. There should never be that much between the game because of the rivalry in the fans and the atmosphere that generates. But who's got the best team? Like, who's the best team? Because I remember in the 90s, Man U were always turning everyone over.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So when they played City, there's a good chance they turn City over. But then you take it under Pep, and it's the same derby with the same fans. But then City kept turning Man United over. Yeah, they got it at 18.
Yeah.
Now, the following with Everton and Liverpool, I remember in the 80s being a young boy and the derby's on. We all can't wait for it because not so much of the rivalry, we're going to beat them. You know what I mean? So the men's we're going to beat them because we've got Kevin Sheedy and Trevor Steven, and these are like brilliant players. And then later on, we had a team where we had Andre and Anders, and we thought, go to game, and he gets the ball, and he gets the ball, we can really hurt them. Now, funny, fast forward now, and you can simply say, I was looking forward to this derby where they had Jack and Ndai. And to be fair, the second half, they showed what they could show. They showed that, you know what, there's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
get something out of this. But from your next question, started a little bit too late. But going back to your mentality, I do think, I'm not sure it's a players, but I think managers might set up a certain way, not to lose a game, might be a bit scared of certain opponents. Back in the day, we'd say, Telly, you're going to be played against Robbie Fowler up front or a Michael Owen. Let's deny them some space.
Yeah,
Because you can't get turned over, can't you?
and like you said, then it's like deny him space. Let's drop off slightly, but make sure you're on the half turn. Make sure you've got that ideal line. Make sure there's no spaces between centre back and full back through to run down the sides and run in between. And that's what we used to do. But you look at the Liverpool side now, and you think, all right, then you've got Salah out there. It was fantastic. Anyway, let's not take anything away from him there. And do you sit in the dressing room, as an Everton player and go, Anfield, they're on fire at the moment. It's always a tight game. But when we used to say that, we can beat this team. So it's about mentality, Al. See, you've got to go out there with that mentality. And every time I've seen Everton play Liverpool, in that dressing room, it was always, we can go out and beat them. We can go out and beat them. Not saying that players don't say that, but maybe now in a dressing room, you had more English, Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
Yeah.
Now we're so diverse. Now, do they really know what a derby means? The players, do they really know what the supporters, when whoever gets beat, they have
Yeah.
to go into work the next day and that? And I think derbies, I don't think it defines the season. 2 games doesn't define the season. I think you've got to pick your points up against the lower teams. You're expected now. You go to Liverpool, you can get a point out of that game, great. But it wasn't a thrashing, was it, at the end of it?
But the Liverpool think that when they come in to play Everton, that's the difference.
Yeah, that's your own point, because I think Liverpool's mentality is they're the biggest and the best.
Yeah,
And we're going to go there and play the Liverpool
yeah,
way,
yeah.
whether we're home or away. I guess.
So how does Joe Royal though, when he came in
Well,
with a team that was struggling, by the way,
yeah.
all of a sudden start winning games against the first
Well, I
game with
think-
Paul Rideout and Duncan Ferguson?
Well, I think Terry's point there about the fans, and that's it. That first game what you're on about was Goodison Park on a night game, wasn't? The history of it, the Goodison Park on a night game. If you make a tackle, on in there you can make a tackle, and it was a little bit of rain or fish, and all of a sudden everyone's up, and all of a sudden anyone can score from a corner. When we scored a goal,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's a man v man, and now it's a derby. You know what I mean? Saturday's game, it didn't start off like a derby. It started off like we weren't acting. So even if we are dropping off, as a midfielder, you can still go get tight to your midfielder. You can still feel it and know he's in a game. You know what I mean? And we just missed that. No, like the duel. Duels.
It's them 1v1 duels, isn't it? Like, today, you're not going to get a touch of the ball. I'm not saying that, you've got to go out and kick players and that. You can't do it now anyway. You go and get tight, you get in the faces. You make life difficult for the opposition. And I've always said that, make life difficult for the person who you're playing in.
And you'd often know him, wouldn't you?
Of course you would.
You'd know him
I
personally.
remember playing against some fantastic wingers. I remember the late David Rocastle when we used to play down there with Wimbledon. I used to say to Dave, it's going to be the hardest day of your life today. Dennis Wise, when Dennis Wise went to Chelsea and that. But going to fact to derbies, I went to the Manchester Derby, and Man United didn't even come out of the blocks. They wasn't even out of the blocks. And Man City was doing the Man City thing, But yeah, you're going to have chances. But I think derbies, like I said before, it doesn't define your season. It's great for supporters. Everton new stadium now, 50-odd thousand in there. It's different from Goodison Park now. It's a new environment. Players have to get used to that environment and all. You've only played a few games there. They're still getting used to it. You look at Seamus Coleman coming from Goodison Park, going there. The surroundings are different. It's different for the supporters. They have to find a seat. They don't know where they're going. They don't know where the toilets are. They don't know where to get the pies. So we've got to take time for them to settle in. But I think I said Everton will have a good year this year. I think they'll have a good year.
To be fair, I've never had a problem finding the pies, I'll be honest. But
That's a shock.
yeah, exactly. So listen, let's look at Liverpool. I mean, is anyone going to stop Liverpool this season? We look that they won yesterday, didn't they? Because Arsenal and City drew. So that was another points really for Liverpool. Is anyone going to stop them this season?
I think it's going to be tough. I mean, you look at the bench yesterday. We got goal scorers on the pitch. They're going to march on a lot of the other clubs because they went out and they put the money down this year. With Isaac mainly, who's on the bench, and Verts is on the bench yesterday. No, these are 2 young players still who've got bags to show, and they're on the bench.
I think Verts, he hasn't set the stall out yet, has he? I think he's coming, and we'll talk about environment. I'm a big believer in environment. He's coming. It's going to take him 6-7 months to settle in, But then you go and get Isaac. He comes in, he's flying straight away, isn't he? Because he knows the Premiership. He knows the environment. He knows what it's like. Take nothing away from Liverpool. It's a massive club, isn't it?
Will that take a bit of it's a good point you just made there, Roo, because before Isaac came in, Verts was like the big signing, 116 or whatever it was million, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. But now, of course, Isaac's come in on 120 odd or whatever it is. So does that take a bit of pressure off Verts, maybe?
It's a little bit more than when I went to Man City, which was $2.5 million, wasn't it? And I was under pressure then, but
Worth every penny.
yeah, I think it does. But it's good to have pressure on yourself. It's good to put pressure on yourself. I think you do play better then. But as a young boy coming in like that, and he's coming in from another country, doesn't really, obviously he'll speak a little bit of English, but when people say, "Oh, the food," it's not about. It's about if he's got children, he has to go to a new school, he has to find housing. It's all the surroundings what can hamper him and all. And I think this day and age now, if you don't get off on a flying start and he's not scoring goals, people start to doubt that why they've paid that type of money. But like Tony said there, the bench at Liverpool probably, would I say, one of the best benches in world football at this present time. I think by Christmas, it could have been wrapped up.
Yeah, well, you look on it, Arsenal as the main challengers and City, and they fought off a draw yesterday. And then watching that game, it was a little bit. It sort of lacked in quality in the final third. In that game yesterday, Haaland scored a fantastic counter attack because he can.
Socrates wasn't on his game, was he? At all?
No, there wasn't that much quality just in the final third. But they're the two main challengers. Well, Liverpool haven't started, in my opinion. I don't think they've given 90 minutes this year. But most of the games, they've been alive every game. So I've had a good chance to watch them in spells, very good. But as
Yeah, they get over the line, don't they, Tim?
get over the line, yeah.
They have them spells. When they play, 97, 98, 100 minutes of pure football. You can have them spells, aren't you? If you can have them 20-minute blocks, and then 20 minutes, and that's what Liverpool do. And listen, attacking football, they go forward, don't they? They get it and they go for the juggler. There's no messing about. They're not Andy Pandying it around the back here, there, and everywhere. They go forward, and that's what I like about Liverpool. And they've always done. Why starve your best players of the ball? They will give them the ball, put the opposition on the back foot, scare the living daylights out of the opposition, and get some goals. And that's what Liverpool are doing.
And we've got maximum points. You
have to just play the Europe and all.
Yeah,
And have it.
well, yeah. So they haven't. So they've got all the points.
Yeah.
And then you've got these other teams who are chasing them, struggling to find the wins, and it's looking like it's going to be tough to stop them.
I think so. I really do.
Well, look, I'm going to take you down the other end now. And West Ham and Graham Potter. And do you think he's in trouble? Does it look?
The question marks are out with Graham Andy. Is he too nice of a person? Does he command the dressing room as per se? Can he get the best out of players? Like I said, is he so down to earth and he doesn't rattle the players? Because at the end of the day, it's about the players, and the manager plays a part in galvanizing the players, getting the players up for it. And he's struggling at this present time, isn't he? He's really struggling. I think he's hanging on to that job. And if he doesn't win the next couple, I think it could be a change, which is sad, really. Yeah.
Well, I think they've got Everton next away and then Arsenal, so it's not going to get any easier before an international break. But I mean, where do you go if you're West Ham? Where do you go if you get rid of? Because it's the easiest thing in football, isn't it? Get rid of a manager. That's easy. The hard part is bringing somebody in who's going to make a difference.
Do you know what I feel mostly sorry for in Premier League is West Ham fans.
Yeah.
Out of all the fan groups.
Yeah.
And the reason being, it's like when you own a club, you have a duty to the fans, don't you? Because without the fans, you've got no club. Now, when they were at the old ground was like a Goodison Park, wasn't it? The old
Goodison Park. Yeah. Right. It was great ground.
And you had this atmosphere in the out there.
Yeah.
Now it's okay going. And we got lucky. Everton got lucky going to the new stadium because it's kept that. The atmosphere is there.
The atmosphere is definitely now, Terry, honestly.
As owners, when you're at the bowling ground, okay, you want a new stadium, great, get a new stadium for the future. But since they've gone there, every time I've watched a West Ham team, and it doesn't matter who the manager is, every single manager, I've come away watching it thinking, the atmosphere's got, for one, you can't feel it. You can't feel it on the pitch, even though you can't really feel it. The pitch looks humongous.
Yeah.
Every West Ham team I've seen, teams cut through, they don't even play through them easy. So I don't know, but I don't think the owners should have went to that ground. I don't think they've given it, and they will say it's a business thing, this and that, but I don't think they should have went. That's
absolute great point. Now, when you're building stadiums, if you look at Finch Farm, when you were building Finch Farm, Everton, They asked everybody about Finch Farm. What do we need for Finch Farm?
Yeah.
They asked the first. They asked the coaches, what do we need? Then you start asking players, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to ask the fans.
Yeah.
And you're just saying about Everton's new stadium there. It's nice inside. You've got to build that nostalgia, haven't you? You've got to keep that
You had
nostalgia.
to take Saul Goodison to that.
And like somebody said then, I think down now you look at the Etihad at Man City. They've kept that. That was for the Commonwealth Games. Actually, was it 2002 or something like that?
Yeah.
So they've took on, but they've kept that nostalgia there. They built up it. They kept it there. I think West Ham went the total opposite way. I think it was a rush job, wasn't it? Really, they should have
Got a good deal, didn't you? Let's be honest.
and it was a rush job. But like Tony said, they didn't think about the fans. They didn't think about creating that environment and the atmosphere.
Yeah. But what you're saying, Tony, they've gone there for the deal, haven't they? Rather than all good for the club.
But then, like you said, it takes that atmosphere away from the fans. Fans want to be close to the ground. Fans want to be singing. You want to be able to win. It looks miles away when you're looking at.
When you watch a West Ham game, it's not how you fans relate to it. No, it's not. It's just like a game on the old Wembley years ago, isn't it?
They've got a good comparison. The track around.
And I'm sorry for the West Ham fans because listen, every fans of all teams are brilliant because they all go out. I went to Salford and Swindon on Saturday, and the heavens opened up. But there's still all them fans from Swindon, the all the way down. So fans make football.
It's watching Salford, they're great. There's to see.
So without the fans, you've got nothing. And this isn't just on this manager, Potter. This isn't just on him.
No.
I can't. West Ham always had a good team when I was growing up. You could always watch a game at West Ham. You'd get a good team.
They'd always have 4 or 5 players in there who stood out. Even you go for the young lads. Cole. Lampard. You're talking about these guys.
We had Sutton, didn't Nick? Now, I mean, and this isn't having a go at West Ham. This is having a go at the leadership again. We spoke about
West Ham for
we'll go and take that stadium again for nothing. Well, that's great, but it's not. It's even an athletics team. Mate, that's a great stadium for that. But we've got it wrong. And whether you can turn it back, whether you can turn that back now. So we talked about who's the next manager if Potter goes. I think you can actually give it to anyone. You want to get very similar results. I think it's broke.
You look abroad and the stadiums now have really changed from the track around them. I think Rome's always had it clean. Now I think they've gone, no, we want to bring the fans in to host. So, and that's what Everton have done. So they've looked at it and gone, now if we have it too big and we have a track around it, it's going to lose that atmosphere. And I think that's what. It's always been the case at West Ham, hasn't it? Since the last day, it's always been the case. But they won a European trophy, but they got rid of a fantastic manager, and somebody else picks that manager up who's doing okay. So it's swings and roundabouts a little bit.
Let's move into the EFL, Toad, because and I'm looking at the thing. For me, the story of the weekend was Blackburn against Ipswich. And I don't know whether you saw it, Terry, but the game was abandoned with 11 minutes remaining. Blackburn are 1-0 up against 10 men because Ipswich have had a player sent off. And of course, the referee abandoned, quite rightly so. When you saw the water, you two lads will appreciate that more than I will. When you saw the ball, it just stopped, as he dropped the ball. And I know from my time at Blackburn, there is a problem there. I remember a game being called off because of the river at the side of the ground. And when that fills up, there's nowhere for the water to go. So now there's a big debate at the moment. We're going to hear this week whether or not, what happens. It looks like the game will be replayed from the start with 11v11. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, back in my day, they didn't stop games, did they? You just got on that. That's on the pitch and that. That's another debate, isn't it? Did he start from scratch or did he start from the time Did he start from that? It'd be a shame for the fans, won't it? Because you'll only see probably 11 minutes, 12, maybe 15, 20 minutes of the game. So obviously, I think they'll start from
football integrity. Well,
if you're Ipswich, you might have equalised.
Correct. So you want to play it, and plus, whatever the rules are right now, we had to adhere to the rules, not to make a rule up right
But
now.
this is the problem because there's no actual rule, if you like.
Yeah.
Basically, what the VFL they're saying their rules, if you like, is that if a game is abandoned because of the conduct of either one team or both teams, then the committee will make a decision as to whether that can start again from the 79th minute.
So, yeah.
If it's down to weather, it's nobody's fault as such. So neither team should be penalised. So that means, that they will replay the game. Is that it? I mean, it's a hard one, isn't it?
When you look at it, what we say, 11 minutes was left.
11 minutes left.
11 minutes.
Time, though.
Could they not do something like, and I'm speaking out of the box here a little bit,
Well, look,
could they not do something like, right, there's 11 minutes, 10 minutes. If a game is abandoned with 10 minutes to go, okay then. And I know that other team could score, can or should the team who's winning just get the 3 points.
well, there used to be anything after 75th minute,
That's what I'm saying.
the result stands.
Right, so why don't they
So
just
that's
keep,
changed.
why?
Well, if there's a rule, I think it's valid what you're saying. If that rule stands before the start of the season,
Yeah.
and then everyone would adhere to that, right? But right now, it's harsh on Blackburn.
But gloves, we talk about fine margins, we talk about promotion and relegation. What happens now then if Blackburn go and get beat?
Yeah, in the replay.
In the replay. And that costs them 3 points. And that could cost them, that game could be the defining game, what costs them maybe promotion.
Yeah.
Relegation. Don't forget, Terry, we hadn't won this game.
No?
So the game hadn't been won anyway on Saturday.
Yeah. So if that rule would have stood,
Yeah.
that 70 dice, if that would have stood, they would have won it. Now they've got to go. They have a few injuries leading up to that. You lose the game.
So there's that nightmare, isn't it? Pessimistic look.
Yeah.
Looking at that. But
Score more goals. What about you 3-0 up? 4-0 up or 5-0 up? What I'm saying.
yeah, I know.
Well, I'm glad we played that one up anyway.
Anyway, all I had to say is, as being involved with a club like Blackburn, they're down towards the bottom of the league. So then 3 points would have been huge. That's what I'm saying. So all of a sudden now, and Ipswich have just come down from the Premier League, not started the season great.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, then now an opportunity to actually get a 3 points.
For if you don't win, man.
Could be your favourite if it's on you look at it.
So it's a huge decision, and it's a horrible one if you're on Blackburn's side, and it's a great one if you're on Ipswich's side.
But Terry, I'm going to take you right back to the start of your career. I think Leeds, wasn't it? You started at Leeds. What was Leeds like in those days?
Well, in the 80s, I mean, I could have signed for a few clubs, Everton being one, Manchester City back in the day, but obviously they being in the old first division then, it was you look at it, and I didn't probably have the surroundings and the environment. I'll go on about environment because it's key. The surroundings what the players have now as youngsters, because they come through the academies all the way. I think it was schoolboys, wasn't it? Schoolboys, then apprenticeship. Did you do an apprenticeship?
Apprenticeship
Where you're cleaning all the
actually, and all it had just changed. So my group was the first group that changed of apprentices to a very nice or like because it was always a school of science, school of excellence, wasn't it? School of excellence. Was it a
School of science?
That's something else too.
Yeah, and then it went into an academy system.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously.
So you joined as a youngster. What age?
12 years of age.
Really?
12, 13 years of age. Because what they used to do back in the day, they used to take you up for the holidays. So you go up a week before Christmas, you go up Easter holidays for a week, and you go up summer holidays for a week. But he always kept in touch with you. And I think it was brilliant because it allowed you to still play for your school. And it allowed you to still play for your club, your local club, Broughton Juniors and Salford Boys.
Yeah.
So it allowed you to do that, which was great. But then I moved up to Leeds. I went to school, hate the school, wasn't the greatest at school, to be fair, but I just didn't like the school because I left all my teammates, and there wasn't the greatest team there anyway, the school team. So I got homeschooled. So what they used to do is bring me into the ground, and I was allowed to train and be around the ground and see how the older players was. And you mix with the older players back then and all. You sat with them, you mixed with them. It was always there. And I learned an awful lot. People like Frank Worthington, Eddie Gray, Frank Gray, Paul Hart, Kenny Burns. Alex Sabella, names, the big mate, late Alex Sabella, Peter Barnes, who played for Manchester City, you know, Joe Jordan, who come back, I think he was at AC Milan, and he come back for a spell. And Arthur Graham, who played on the wing, Peter Lorimer. Oh, you know, you talking names and Gooseberry. How could you not learn off these kind of guys? The great Leeds players. So, and then I said, yeah, we'll go and we'll sign for that, because a couple of friends, John Sheridan was there. No, that's okay. Dennis Irwin, and an old friend of mine called Mark Russell. So, you know, we knew people, and it was easy for me then to go there. So yeah, I went there.
Strange pick for a Salford lad, I must say. You know, because it was a rivalry, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, War of the Roses, isn't it? Like, kind of thing. If I can say that, sorry, but you know, it was always a big, fantastic football club, a massive football club, and then I think Leeds gets lost in that massive club, doesn't it? You know, would you say it's up there with the top six?
No,
But I'm on about club,
Not as a club.
not
Yeah, as a club.
not like,
It has a history.
but as a club.
yeah,
You know,
it's a great debate, the top six, because it's been on people's lips for years, and I think Leeds have a right to be somewhere up there and spoken about. What, in the echelons with all the top?
I mean, I was going to say, if you're putting together your ideal top flight league, Leeds is in there.
Leeds has got to be there
Thought
for the fans, but then, you know, other teams could say, I mean, I think they won, what was it, two or three championships in seven or 8 years, you know, and then
But even the fan base, isn't it? The fan,
it's a fan base, it's used, but
Worldwide.
But it was great, you know, as a young boy, making my debut 17 or 18 years of age. You know, it was fantastic. I think I played against Shrewsbury, but I only knew probably, it was probably about 45 minutes before kickoff, because Gary Hampson was left back, and he obviously he didn't make the fitness test. He failed the fitness test, sorry. So anyway, I went in, and I never looked back from there. I said, this is my golden chance now. Grab it while it's there. Just go out, work hard, and that was it. And that's what I did. So, you know, I always thought I was going to start Leeds. I thought I loved the place. I always want to stay there, but there was too much manager changes. Eddie Gregg. Well, it was Alan Clark every day. Go, Alan Clark. Come to the house tea. Brought me mum flowers, chocolates. We had more chocolates. She could have had a sweet shop, you know. But it was absolutely brilliant. You know, Alan Clark come, then he goes. Then Eddie Gray comes in. Great Eddie Gray. Then he comes. Then Billy Brenner come in. Yeah. You know, I was probably too small to be a fullback. I remember him telling me, great fella.
Really?
And then I got released at 19 years of age. So I went to Swansea with Terry Yorath, another great Leeds, also legend, and Spurs legend, Welsh legend, and Tommy Hutchinson, Manchester City legend, and Coventry and all.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I went down there for a year to Swansea, which was absolutely brilliant on the Mumbles. But somebody said to me, you're going down to the Welsh Riviera. And go, what's the Welsh Riviera? I know the Salford Riviera. I know the Salford Riviera, Irwell River. I said, and that was about it. So anyway, I went down, absolutely fell in love with the place. Did want to leave.
Really?
It's brilliant, isn't it?
But, you know, you talk about flowers and chocolates, and now they're taking the Mercedes cars and, you know, all kinds of things now to keep young players happy.
Well, hang on a minute. You go into the youth team, the car park, they're all Mercedes, but that's good luck to them. Yeah. Fantastic. You know, for me and Tony sat there, I just wanted to be a football player. Nothing else mattered.
Well, funny you say that. We said this last week.
Just want to be a football player.
Probably, yeah. And it's just back in the day, everybody just wanted to play football.
Just wanted to play football.
You wanted to put that shirt on, get in front of the fans. I mean, I said this on the radio in the Salford Swindon game. You know, when we grew up, them names you just mentioned, then it's fantastic to hear. I know if there were some of the names from Cheers, some I love listening to all names. But all we ever wanted to do was play for your team in front of all the fans, make a tackle, or try and score a goal, celebrate. I mean, they're the things we wanted, wasn't it?
Honestly, you and people say, "Are we dinosaurs?" We're not dinosaurs. He's coached all over the world. I've been all over the world. We've still got them lovely modern trains and that. We're not dinosaurs. It's just that when we go back in the past, how it was for us, we actually mixed with superstars. We actually mixed with, wasn't segregated, because that's how you learn, and you learn quickly. If the tea wasn't hot enough, and there wasn't enough sugar in it, I get back out. You know, so we did an apprenticeship, and I think the apprenticeship grounded us.
Yeah.
It wasn't what people said it was, you know, it was a bit above it should be, but it grounded us cleaning stands, cleaning boots, cleaning
Well,
football.
the cleaning boots thing is the one that people bring out, isn't it? And you know, I remember Gaza talking to me, and he was cleaning his own boots.
Yeah.
You know, I've got an interview with him when he was at Everton,
Yeah.
and he looked at me and he said, I used to do this. I think it was Glenn Hoddle or so. I can't remember who it was. He used to, and he said, none of them do this now. He said, yeah, you do. We do our own. He said, I'm not moaning about doing my boots. No, he said, but you know, these lads should be doing it. You know, and you know,
I think that society, you know, society changes like everything else, but I just think it grounds you a little bit. It grounds you. Anyway, listen, I'm sure, T, you've had fantastic footballing friends who never made it, maybe for one or two reasons. I have had the same, but I think it grounded you. I actually love doing the jobs. I obviously love clearing in the ground.
Yeah.
It was part of a job.
Yeah.
And it got you ready for life.
Yeah.
You know, it got you ready for
Respectful,
life.
didn't it?
It got you ready for if you're going to live on your own. You know, you need to be able to do jobs on your own.
Yeah.
You know, at a young age. But yeah, Swansea was going great, but some wonderful names at Leeds United.
Yeah. Then, of course, the next one, I think we could be here a while now. The next one, you moved to Wimbledon. Oh, and like, what club that was? Where were Wimbledon when you moved there? At what point were they in that sort of grow? Because they came up quickly, didn't they?
They did. I think. I remember Terry Yorif coming on. Just signed a 2-year contract, an extra 2 years at Swansea, and he gave me, I think it was £275 a week. Wow, I was like gold. I was like, my word, this is beautiful. My word, this is great. Look at that now, and I've got another 2 years. And that means I'm stable. I don't need to move anywhere. Did pre-season. After 2 weeks, he come to me, went, "You're off. You're going." I said, "Where am I going?" He went, "You're going to Wimbledon." I said, "Wimbledon? I don't play tennis." I was like, "If you wind if you are you?" Because some Hutchinson used to walk around with like a little tennis racket, you know, like I don't know. What's Wimbledon? Where's Wimbledon? I knew it was tennis.
Yeah.
He went, "No, there's a football club there." He went, "We had to let you go. You know, we're getting 100 grand for you.
Yeah.
We'll sort it out our side." You know, and it was
Even that's interesting, isn't it? 100 grand. But all the managers say, "Oh, yeah, well,
You go
it was now it's
Yeah.
now it's you know, I don't know.
no, yeah, you're right.
Well, you don't go there unless you
He said,
play once.
"I could have stayed.
Yeah.
I had 2 years.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you know, it says you'll help the club out. We need the money. We got you for nothing. It's great for you. You go London." I said, "London?" I said, "My word, you throw me amongst the lions there." Didn't even know about Wimbledon.
Yeah.
I go there. I sit there for 4 hours in this cabin for 4 hours.
Like a party cabin trip.
What cabin?
Yeah.
This little ground. Don't forget, I've had Leeds and Swansea, big ground.
Yeah.
I've come to this little ground and I'm thinking, he's done me a kipper here. He's done me a kipper here. Terry Yorif has done me a kipper. I got no. We didn't have phones then. I couldn't wait to get a phone. 3 to 4 hours I was sat there. Bobby Cool comes in. He goes, "Oh, little Phelan, come to the office." And I've just got plastic bags. I mean, I'm not going to figure out a suitcase or whatever. Anyway,
This is a Plough Lane, is this actually?
oh, Lane walked across, went to the little office, met Stanley, the chairman, met Samerman, the owner,
Yeah.
Bobby Gould, and who else was there? What was his name now? Coach. What was his name? Arsenal. He was at Arsenal and all. Oh, beautiful chap. Well, he'll come to me anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. And he come to me and he says, "Well, welcome. This is Plough Lane. We'll show you around." I said, "Show me around where?" I said, "It only had 2 sides." I don't know how it was. Don't know how the great Donau. Yes, Donau was there. Sorry about that. But yeah, and that was it. It took me 6 months to settle in. I didn't know whether I was coming, going, crying, moaning, groaning.
Yeah.
Because my first training session was like, I'd never seen anything like it. We never did a 5-a-side. Everything was on a full-size pitch. Everything was like full size. Warm-ups was on the full size. But and I remember Donald going, "Well, we do everything on the full-size pitch because we play on the full-size pitch. We do everything in full-size goals because we have to score in full-size goals. Nobody scores in 5-a-side goals. And when you was on the street, young man, I bet you drawn big goals on the wall. Yeah. Well, that's what we do here. It's not Leeds now. It's not Leeds now. it's not Swansea, it's Wimbledon, and this is the way we play. Well, I just couldn't get hold of it.
Yeah.
You know, everything was triggers. And if anybody out there knows what triggers, it come out your feet. You curl balls in and around. You curl balls over and through, and everything was set patterns. You know, we played on the halfway line. A high line. Do you know about high lines?
Yeah.
On the half turn,
Right, he's bought, hasn't he? With your pace as well.
ideal lines.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely, after 6 months, I remember playing against, remember Newcastle? And you remember Gazza with Vinny, and he got his ghoulies.
Yeah.
If you say his ghoulies,
Yeah, so well, you just have.
well, I'll say it again, his ghoulies. So he got his ghoulies. And I played in that game, and I thought, I've got to let the shackles off here. I'm going to show them that I can really play. And that was it. They brought me in to the change room, all the players, threw me up, and they said, welcome to the family. It was tough for the first 6 months.
So was the crazy gang already a thing at that point?
Oh, it was already there. It was there. It was there for the. Don't forget, you'd come from the fourth up to the first, back down and back in again. So it was already there. Wally Downs, Brian Gale, Wally Downs. You know Wally. You know Wally Downs. Wally. Brian Gale, who played for Man City. Alan Corp. Dave Best. You know, Andy Thorne.
I don't know whether it'd be happier on the bus when you won or when you got beaten. No, I was not.
But you know what? You know what? Win, lose, or draw. That was it. They treated everything with respect, to be fair, but they treated everybody with respect. If we lose, we lose. We might have lost, 1-0, 2-0. But it's not as if we played bad. We just might have had that little bit of bad luck. It happens,
Or the more quality of
Yes. But it was absolutely wonderful. And, I always tell a story about the 1988 FA Cup final, when we beat these Reds over there, beat them Reds over there, you don't need to. So, and it was getting fidgety on the Friday night. So Bobby said to Don, look, they're getting fidgety, they're going to start messing about. And it's so, boom, a bread roll comes across, hits me in the egg, it's got a lump of butter on. So you start throwing the bread rolls about because they were getting the fidgety. They were always messing about. If you left your key on the desk, the key would be gone. All your clothes would be in a lift with the bed, and it'd be sent down to reception. So it's all like, messing about. Crazy. So they turned around and went, go out then. This one, go out. Said, go out, but make sure you're back for 2:00. Wow, that's the curfew, 2:00. So the lads went out, had a glass of wine, played some darts, played some pool. We got a cup final the next day. So, you think of it now, but, and it wasn't as if we was, we just went out to relax and enjoy the occasion.
Is he worried because last week we had Robbie on in the week and he was the overall team spirit and that camaraderie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you had it in abundance, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
That team had it in abundance.
I mean, training was tough. Trainings was tough. Like I said, you had them hard Tuesdays, 10-mile runs, and we had the fitness. We talk about fitness now. We had Jenny Archer, and she was actually the fitness coach, and she trained Linford Christie. Remember the great sprint at Linford Christie. So we had it back then. We had that little bit of sports science back then. But we was all fit like this. We was all strong and fit because we had to be. It's the way we played. Talk about pressing, high press, low press, block this, that. We was doing it back then. Yeah. We was doing it back then with intents and all. So we never.
The difference is if you got out against them, they just foul you.
But that is it. They just foul you. Just like, just put your arm across there. And people said we folks. No, we played the way that hurt other teams. We hurt other teams quite simply by just getting it up there and getting it out. And it wasn't, people say, oh, it's the long ball. No, we actually trained every single day with position to be able to get that ball into certain areas and pull people out.
There's patterns of play, isn't there? It might be a long ball, but it's still a pattern of play. Because if you go into fash, go into it with a bit of quality. So out at the game on Saturday I went to, from the back to the front, it was just shelled. There was no quality. But if you go back to what Terry can do now, all of a sudden you've got a big striker. If you hit him with a bit of quality, the sense of after a hard time, and
it was faded in. It was back a spin on it. It was faded. It was just lumped up there. When people and I hate that word. Oh, Wimbledon just used to lump it up. You feel cool. No, we never. If you sit down, watch the game yesterday.
Yeah.
You watch these fullbacks now. They can't fade a ball into the centre forward. They can't go around with culture.
Mm.
They can't hit a wonderful diagonal ball. They just get it and just go. They hope because they try to play too precise. I believe sometimes,
Yeah.
and we play the simple game, effective game,
Mm.
but the nostalgia in the dressing room was just brilliant.
But the thing is as well is that and I'm going to kiss your backside a little bit here, Terry. But you were a cultured left back. You weren't your normal sort of hard man. Although you could put a great tackle in, but you also loved to play, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
And I guess that was throughout the Wimbledon side, wasn't it?
Well, I think we learned to play because I come up. Where did I come up at Leeds United?
Leeds United, yeah.
Get the ball on the deck, play in training, 1 touch, 2 touch,
Yeah.
3 touch max.
Yeah.
You know, you go to Swansea, it's the same because you've got Sarah Yorif and Tommy Hutchison.
Yeah.
You go to Wimbledon, now you have to adapt a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to think, well, I don't want to go bop into the midfield because the midfield players don't want it. The midfield players want to go that way. So when that second ball comes out, they're on top of the ball and then they're helping the ball back in the danger zone. Where's the danger zone? 18-yard box, And yeah, so that's what we
And
used to do.
it's good recruitment. So you think about it. You go, what is it? Wimbledon, taking Terry. When we know Terry's makeup,
Yeah.
we know his makeup.
Yeah.
We know he's tenacious.
Yeah.
We know he's very, very fast. Yeah. What they're saying is what Terry, brilliant, what he just said there, especially for coaches. When he's at other clubs, you are trying to get your midfielders on it. Because I'd swear you when Terry give us the ball.
Yeah.
But then if he's got 2 centre mids who actually don't want the ball, they won't show up.
Yeah.
Now Terry keeps looking for them and they're not there. You could get caught on the ball.
Yeah.
What do you have to do then? Through the coaching, Terry, as soon as you get the ball, you've got 2 big strikers. We want a bit of quality into them because these 2 lads in midfield want to go join him. And that's how, when he's saying simplified it, you can't simplify it more than that, can you?
Obviously, it was 4-4-2, simply 4-4-2. I don't believe system wins your games. I believe players win your games. It's as simple as that. You can put any system you want on, but yeah. But I mean, smiley face runs, one centre forward coming across the other centre forward. Your winger going high to come. Yeah, but your winger's going high to come out. You play a ball into him, you get it back. Now you're looking at getting the first centre half out.
Yeah.
Your second centre forward now is bending, he's running, and you're fading that ball in. Now, where's he pulled? He's pulled a centre back who doesn't really want to go out into that wide area, that wide zone, that wide space, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to play. But it was brilliant. And people say about, the modern day fullback. Well, what is a modern day fullback? Because I was doing it 40 years ago. And I could show you the clip, if I had the clip, in the FA Cup final, where I was closing down around about, would I say, 30 yards outside Liverpool's box. I was closing down as a midfield player.
Yeah.
I was playing fullback. So, we're not everybody out there. We're not that.
Not one that's on this 40.
They haven't reinvented the world, have they?
And I honestly believe football will have a new year where they start playing with
Well, look,
strikers.
what did you-
You're
what-
talking about now, sorry, Tel, where you got one striker.
We were saying, weren't we?
Yeah, and
It's hard. Fullbacks.
a lot of centre halves, in my opinion, have got smaller.
Yeah.
1v1, you've got no weight on them, right? I think I'm waiting for the club or the team, an academy, to start producing more forwards on a club to actually play with 2. Because just that movement that Terry just mentioned then would cause so much trouble.
But what's the art of the game? To move the opposition, to move centre backs, to move full backs, and the worst one I ever played against was little Ray Alton.
Right.
Little Ray Alton, because he used to pop into that half space and you go in. Well, if I go in there and they peel that ball in behind me, I don't want my centre back going out there because then I have to run back into the centre half position and it's all confusion. So what I used to do, I used to get my winger to drop in there, Carlton Fairbuck. Carlton drop in there, let Stevie Nicol have the ball there because he's too deep anyway, can't do nothing. Because they want to play, don't they? So yeah, I mean, there's all different shapes and sizes. You can go on and on and on. And at the end of the day, it's a beautiful game. There's no matter how you play it, beautiful game. And Wimbledon was absolutely fantastic.
So was the 88 final, is that in your top 2, top 3 of moments in your career?
Oh yeah. I mean, playing against a Liverpool side who I love watching. I think everybody. I don't know. I love watching when I was younger because he was always on the TV. It was like probably the Manchester United of the 90s, wasn't it? But it was because he was going for the double then, I believe. He was going for the double. And
What did you think when you saw the suits?
Well,
Must say on here.
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you the story. Forget them. Or forget Liverpool. Sorry, I won't say them. Forget Liverpool. Wonderful players, but we wanted to travel to Wembley in our minibus. So we used to have a minibus, like the Anthill Mop.
Yeah.
We used to have a minibus, white minibus, stripe, black stripe down it. And back then you had what, 11 on the field, one sub, and 13th man.
Yeah.
13th man used to travel in the Range Rover with the kit with Big Joe.
Yeah.
The rest of us used to get in the minibus like this, and your feet would be on your backs.
Yeah.
And you'd be getting out at White Hart Lane and places like that, and Highbury and Upton Park when we talk about. So we said, look, we've been offered a lot of money off the TV, no, about something like £250,000 or something like that, to travel in the minibus to Wembley.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be great getting out with it? So Sam Mann said, no, you can't do that. This is about a day. Enjoy the day. We're getting a proper bus there because you need the TVs. Remember the TV. So
Yeah.
but yeah, we should travel around it. We used to travel around in a minibus.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
In a minibus.
Yeah.
Come on,
Incredible.
think about that.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
No air conditioning, no TVs, no phones, just concentration. Getting the kit out there's underneath. Them green bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, brilliant, though.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but well, yeah, it was a great time.
Wimbledon. Well, so listen. I mean, still got about 15 clubs to go through. So we
Really?
so we'll move on. And of course, then you get a move. I mean, how did it come about that you left Wimbledon?
Well, I mean, obviously, you do 5 years there. I think you know when your times you want to test yourself, you want to challenge yourself. And I said to Sam, look, I'm ready now to go. What's the offer? He says, well, it's 2.5 million. I said, nobody's going to buy me for 2.5 million. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I think Man United, Everton was 1.5, Celtic, Rangers, Tottenham, Arsenal, a few teams come in, but nobody was paying 2.5 million. Barcelona come in 1.8 million. Ajax come in 1.8 million. But Sam wanted 2.5 million. And I felt a little bit disjointed because I'd done well at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
I wasn't on
Shaped them well.
I wasn't on mega money, but it was enjoyable. So I thought, yeah, Barcelona comes knocking on your door. I still got the paper clipping, guys, so I will show you that. Johan Cruyff will pay 1.5 to 1.8 and we'll take him. I went to, I think Bolton offered 2.5. I think back then, I think it might have been Bolton, Crystal Palace, and Peter Reid. I loved Reedy when he was at Everton anyway. I used to love playing against Everton. I wanted to back.
Yeah.
And that's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, Peter Reid came in and said, look, we'll take him because he brought Keith Cool the year before.
Yeah.
It was building a team. He was building the nucleus at the back. I think he was 3 players short of having a top class team. You needed another top class centre half to go with Curly.
Yeah.
You needed a top midfield player because Stevie McMahon was there, brilliant Stevie in the dressing room. And Gary Flitcroft was coming through, but you needed a top centre forward. You need a spine, don't you, to challenge? And so I went, back home. Club I could have went to when I was 12 years of age. Support Manchester City, so
Really a dream.
it was the dream, yeah.
Yeah, it really has. And of course, Reedy is. I see a lot of comparisons there with yourself and fully committed and that.
Does you mean he's got more hair than me, or as you say, are you saying I've got me flares on like he's wearing these flares?
Yeah, and I don't think he'll ever look as good as Reedy looked and he flares. But like there was that commitment that was because we talk about managers, don't we, and how they influence players to go to clubs. Was he a big factor in that?
I think Reedy was only learning the game.
He was.
Man City. I think he was a new manager. He was only learning the game. He had Sam Ellis with him and all. But
Had he taken over from Howard at that point? And Howard,
I think he did. So, and player manager he was. He could play with. He was fantastic. But, off the field he was great with the players.
Yeah,
it's great. I was only with him a week and a half ago. He's still the same. Hasn't changed. Still so down to earth. Absolutely brilliant. And that's why I think I went. Because when you played against the old Everton sides, it was tough. It was so tough. And Bracewell was in there who I played with Paul, obviously at Fulham, down the line. But no, I think going to Man City and what Reedy had, it was like, come here, you've got Curly there who You're trying to build something. And I went, yeah, I'll sign tomorrow. So I signed, yeah, straight away. Brilliant.
And of course, after that, another big club, Chelsea. I mean, how?
Oh yeah, that was a strange one, that, because you know it's like we were talking about managers who don't know they're going to get sacked, and then they get sacked. They don't really, obviously they might have an inkling because of results, but if you're doing well and you've built the club up and they've bang, you lose maybe 2 or 3 and you're gone. It was a bit like that with me, and I remember think I was playing down at Chelsea, or actually playing for Man City at Chelsea.
Right. Okay.
And I think it was Alan Ball was the manager,
Right.
the late Alan Ball, and I think the deal was done in the room
On the day.
on the day. Yeah. And he's come to me, he's gone, "Oh, we're selling you to Chelsea." I said, "Well, I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to leave. I want to stay. I've only been here 3 years. Come on, no, we're selling you. We're taking the offer for you." And he was a little bit disjointed anyway, because when he got rid of Reedy, or Brian Arm come in, he was great with the players.
Yeah, I'm very glad.
But you seen that, what it's like, in clubs. The chairmans are changing, managers are changing. You think to yourself, hang on a minute, there's no continuity in that.
Yeah.
But I love that, Man City. I didn't want to leave. Said, no, the deal's done. You going? So I went, all right, then I had no choice. I didn't want to sit in the stands. I'm a football player. I want to play football. It was actually 2 weeks later, we played Manchester City. I think it was Manchester City 2 or 3 weeks later, something like that. But yeah.
It's funny, he's talking about going to Man City and they're going to build something. They're a couple of players short from being a really good team. And then again, behind the scenes, Man City became after this period almost a yo-yo club, didn't
We
he?
come fifth and ninth.
Yeah.
And we wasn't far off.
Playing far,
Completely.
yeah.
You know,
And then someone makes the decision, you're going now, and you're going. And it's like all the hard work to build something, it's just gone. And then you end up getting relegated and then relegated. It's amazing how some clubs are allowed to. Well, back in the day, when
do you know what, T? Which obviously the modern day fans now, and they've got everybody has an opinion, but when they say, "Oh, Man City was rubbish back then," they had rubbish players and that. Think about, I was an international football player.
Yeah.
Won the FA Cup with Wimbledon. Yeah, played. An awful long time.
Yeah.
You don't just become a rubbish football player.
No.
It's just that, like you said, it's people up there who make them choices. And as a football player, back then, you didn't have a choice.
You just went to be.
And as someone who's worked in that level of a club, they make choices with no real basis about.
I felt sorry for, I felt, forget the players, I felt sorry for the fans.
Yeah.
I really felt sorry for the fans, because I really did, because, the clubs I played for, the fans have been excellent. They've been top notch, working class. Well, we're from the working class. We're from the streets, don't forget. So it relates to us, because you've stood there, I've stood there. But it was sad. I was very sadly. I don't think I got over that leaving Man City. I think that. Yeah, I don't think it was always in the back of my mind. And
So you had beer, had it, maybe.
I know
I might have not.
when I met him, when I met him, that was the thing. I was just saying that, didn't that word. We was always in the gym together. You find, like, we was always injured in the gym. Right, T, what you doing? I'm having a cup of tea. What I'm doing?
But like, I mean, what a place to go, and again, London, so you've gone from this really familiar place in Manchester, your team, and you're back down in London again.
A familiar place which I knew very well.
Of course, you knew it.
Again, Glenn Hoddle comes in. He goes, I need to play 5-3-2. I need the best wing backs I can possibly get. Dan Petrescu comes in from Sheffield Wednesday.
Wow.
He brings me to Manchester City, and all he says to us is, "Your job is to get up and down that field. We know you can do it." He wasn't all this. You need to now to do this. You need to. It's like, go out and do the job, and that's what we did. And else it was brilliant. And a blueprint again. We're gonna be a force. We're gonna bring top international players in there. I know Mark Hughes come in, Rude Hullet come in, Frank LeBoeuf come in.
Yeah.
Who else good things? Zola, come in. Di Matteo come in. Roberto Di Matteo, who Chelsea wanted. Equally, had Dennis Wise there. Eddie Newton there, some wonderful little Johnny Spencer there, wonderful football, wonderful. And I'm thinking, this is great. What happens? Glenn Hoddle takes the England job. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
again, I'm like, and you can't turn the England job down, can you?
No, no, no.
There you go. Is a manager going to come in and not like the way I play? Is he going to change the system? We don't know. And obviously, Rude Hullett got the job, and Rude was Rude, great lad. Don't get me wrong, but I think Graham Ricks did all the jobs there. But that
But how was that transition for players? All of a sudden your teammate is now the manager. Is that difficult?
it was tough because if you had a run-in with him, maybe, then does that affect you then when he goes, when he becomes, it shouldn't affect you.
He's now making the
He's
decisions.
making the decisions now. And, it may want, you get a little injury here, a little injury there, like everybody does, because you're playing a sport which is high paced, it's physical. And yeah, it was a strange one. I just don't think I fitted into his plans too well. I think he preferred, it was the left back there. I think Andy Myers was playing left back and centre back, little
Oh,
Alfred.
yeah.
So it was one of those, I don't want to be, I played, but I don't want to be sat of it.
You're a young manager, which Rude will have been then, making his way, he probably wants to make his own decisions then. And they fight like the older and bring your own players in then, rather than looking at the blueprint, like Leonard left and gone, oh, what, this could actually be very good.
Yeah.
Because you as a
Viali was there.
Absolutely.
I think
There's some players there.
Sescu as a wing back.
Some players.
you just keep it going.
Perfect wing backs, aren't he?
Yeah.
And has he got a phone call from Joe Royal then?
Yeah, because obviously he knew I was uneasy. Andy Hinchcliffe got injured. Now, he knew I was uneasy. Obviously my agent knew Joe very well, like Morris.
Yeah, because legendary.
Yeah, so, do you want to come back up north? And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. They're building something there. I can see it coming, but am I going to be part of it? And don't forget, back then, it just started coming in, that rotation, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you know what? If you've been playing week in, week out, 3 games a week, you want to keep doing that.
You don't understand rotation, do you?
Because nobody sat down and explained to you how it was going to work. It was like, one day you played, 2 days you didn't play. I think when you play a game, all right then, and you're at the top, and then you're left out for 2 games, you lose something. I think you lose that fitness, because your training's all right, but you want to be playing that.
I think nowadays it's different than our day. I think our day as well. As Terry's saying, you want to play. Me being a young lad coming through, I'd have hated in that rotation, because if someone would have took my shirt and played really well, I'm gonna get them back in.
That's the thing.
That's the problem. But now I think they sort of accept it. They're getting paid so much money to become.
I mean, listen,
bit different.
when you look at it, like I said, young manager comes in, it's up to him. That's how they probably did it in Italy, because it's a great footballing player. But I do think now you've got to understand the players, and I think that's happened. It's happening now. You've got to understand the players. Maybe at one club it's not happening too much, because there's a big debate on that. I bet you in the clubs at the moment, there's a big debate on that, and that's present time. For health and well-being, is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? But I think now in academies per se, the health and well-being is a lot more than when we was growing up. We just wanted to play football, and managers, got you out there. I said, right, you're playing, you've played well, you're playing, but you never turned around and took it lightly, because you knew somebody else was after your place, and then nobody else. Well, I wasn't gonna give my place up lightly. The only way I was giving it up is if I went somewhere else, and that's what happened with Everton.
Here's the thing, obviously you referred into the Chelsea situation. What's best? The way you did, the way you had to handle with that sort of disappointment and not being as or should players get that that thought that it should be looking at the mental health of the players, and where do you stand on that?
It's the hardest thing in the world. There's nothing worse than being disappointed. We've all been disappointed in our lives somewhere.
Yeah.
And as an athlete, whether you're injured, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
Because you feel left out, you feel nobody loves you.
Well, you have the pressure of the elite,
and you feel you let the fans down.
Yeah.
But then when you're sat in a stand and you think, and you're just not part of it, you're just not part of it. But then imagine going training somewhere else completely away. Imagine their health and well-being. Forget the money, what they're getting.
Yeah.
Think about their health and well-being of the actual players. back in our day, we wasn't probably earning what they're earning. I know we wasn't earning what they're earning now. I can't say probably. It maybe T was, but I certainly wasn't. But I think if I'm really honest with you, for me, I just wanted to play, so it didn't bother me. If I could go somewhere and play, I knew then that somebody wants you, I'm going. I wasn't hanging.
But also society was wrong, wasn't it? Something not wrong. Wrong was different in those days. The whole society, there wasn't that expectation and the sort of thought that there is in society today, where we look at mental health and we look at how things are.
Well, you had less ease.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
So
it wasn't there, was it?
you look at your parents back in the day. So when you're growing up, your parents were just going out to work, and everyone worked.
You was on your own once.
You're on your own.
You come from school. Maybe your parents were. You come from school. You did your jam butty. Boom, boom, boom. You went out and played football with your mates.
Yeah.
So that was you, and that's how we was brought up. But even so, you still have problems.
Of course, yeah.
You want to be a football player.
You just didn't know we had the problems. I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't know because you was tough. You was honest with yourself.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do, and I don't want to get into a big debate.
No.
You just play football.
Yeah.
I was built to play football, so I wanted to play football, and that's why I went to Everton.
Yeah.
Somebody wants me, even though I knew Andy Hinchcliffe was going to come back, and I knew little Michael Ball was in there. I thought, well, if I get a good year under my belt, I'm happy with that. Yeah. I'm happy.
And I think one thing we'll all be in agreement here on this table was Joe Royle is some guy, isn't he? And he was such a great manager.
I thought he was too nice, Joe. I thought it was. Too nice. You must play with Man City, did you?
I did, and Joe was brilliant for me.
Brilliant.
Great man manager. Isn't he?
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant man manager.
And I remember meeting Joe, and he said, "Look, Andy Hinchcliffe, I need a left back. Would you be prepared to come? I know you're uneasy down there." I said, "Yeah, definitely." He said, "What?" He said, "Why do you want to come to Everton?" I said, "The fans." I said, "The fans." Right, Ant. He went, "But what do you mean about fans?" I said, "Because they're like working class fans. I'm one of them. I'll come in, I'll put me graft in. I might not play every game, but I'm going to put me graft in. And I want them fans to stand up and appreciate the work we put in. That's all you need to do, the Everton fans. You need to work hard." That's what we're saying in the day.
Yeah, and that's one thing Terry, even I say against Terry Legend,
Work hard, get them up there. So when they go home, win, lose, or draw, they go home and they go, "Do you know what? You put the graft into it. You didn't let us down."
Yeah.
That is what fans want. Maybe the modern fans are a little bit different, but in this area, I tell you something now.
But that's what Joe would have wanted as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would have wanted that, because no one understood.
Was it as good as Andy Hinchcliffe? Because Andy Hinchcliffe had a lovely left foot from corners.
You could try to cross the drop.
Probably wasn't as good as that. But Andy was a fantastic player. Obviously, Neil Poynton was there and all. They've had some wonderful left backs. Then the old dreaded injury started, didn't it? And that took a big chunk of, that took a big chunk of my career. After 3 years,
But after Joe, I mean, Joe obviously went. There was something building. I think we'd just missed out on Europe the season before. I think it was Aston Villa. We beat them 1-0, but Arsenal had just crept into that position. And then the next season, was a struggle, and that's where Joe went, which was well documented.
If you can, I just say you talked about Kanchelskis and Gary Spear, Pete Dunk. You had the young lads coming through. Eunice coming through. Kadamadi was coming through.
Shorty came in.
Shorty. Bally was coming through. We had who was it? Gav McCann was good.
That's right.
We had you talk about youth teams.
Yeah.
We probably had the
best. They won the league.
We had the best youngsters coming through.
Yeah.
We had and it was probably time to mix a lot of them in.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was brilliant. A wonderful array of top talent they had, the youngsters. And that boils down to Colin Harvey, who was part of the academy there. And Jimmy Gabriel, who's part of the academy.
Yeah.
Wonderful players, talent.
So Everton have always had a conveyor belt of players coming through. They always have. Only over the last number of years, not just Everton, a lot of clubs have struggled to get some really good players else. Yeah, we mentioned West Ham before, bringing the array of talent they had out. Now they'll always bring the player out, but of that top level, it's getting harder.
Oh no, so that I think the 20 players, the young
Michael Ball was another one, wasn't
Bob Marley was great, wasn't he? And don't Vic, Big Dunny, we forgot about Big Dunny, Irish counterpart, absolutely fantastic. That was a team of itself. You couldn't that youth team was
I
fantastic.
don't think, you know what's funny is because it's funny you drop on certain topics and don't get, and I don't think anyone had the foresight to actually see. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I remember Bill Kenwright saying to me in the at Goodison Park, saying I always thought me and Billy Kenny would be the two
Yeah,
things
Billy Kenny,
to take Everton forward.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Branching.
there was no foresight that never came down from coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas now it's spoken about.
Yeah.
There's more thoughts and there's more departments with the talk of.
I thought it was absolutely. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah. But then, what I call the mad season came about to me when Howard came back, and that 97, 98 season was bonkers. Was not the stuff that was going on week in, week out there.
But you know, T, you have the nail right on the head. No, when things start happening upstairs,
Yeah.
people say, does it affect?
100%.
Of course it affects. Of course it does. You go into any organisation, if there's shuffling up there, it's gonna create the environment down there. It's not going to be too healthy, the environment.
People don't understand this, do they? They don't understand that players are human. They look. You'd hear players say to the media, don't you, though? Oh, it doesn't affect it. I know it does. I see it's affecting them.
And at 3 o'clock, when that whistle go, it doesn't affect them.
No.
You've got to think about. But all you read the papers back then, and you're going on in the club. It's not healthy. I feel sorry for the supporters. And because they're the ones who are paying. I always say they're the ones who are paying out of wages, and the sponsors and this and that. So you want to do the best for them, and sometimes it's taken out of our hands.
Yeah.
And it's sad because we I tell you something now. If we would have went down that year, that would have been a disaster.
I don't think we'd be back. I don't think Everton will be back now. I genuinely don't.
Gareth Fowler,
The goal. Yeah. Doing that.
it was. I was thinking the relief around the place was unbelievable.
I had to get patted down by the CID to go in to see the chairman that day. That's how bad it was.
Well, it was sad because there was a cloud over there. We had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, there was a lot of injuries.
Yeah. Good players were injured. I mean, mine was at 18 months for the cartilage, on and off, on and off, and it was terrible. And you come to the point where you go, what am I going into the club for? What, I just don't feel part of it. But you turn around and go, right, I've got to get back. Boom, I've got to get back, and you work hard to get back because you want to be out there. You want to be on the football field. You want to be on the training field.
Yeah.
So,
I remember.
it was bonkers.
I remember seeing, quite often I'd come into Belfield and you'd be sat on the little wall where you go in.
Yeah.
And you'd just be sitting there and you did have that sort of aura about, what am I doing,
Yeah. Well, you just have to get on, but you're getting paid to do a job.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
But it's frustrating for you.
Oh, it's hard work, but you have to get on with it. And I remember going down to, I'll tell you a little story if you've got time. I remember going down to the surgeon about the knee. He went, yes, Mr. Phelan. He went, what, do you like going on beaches? I went, yeah, I love beaches. He went, I said, yes, maybe, you think about beach.
Oh.
I got the car back up to Liverpool, went back in the gym. I went, right, that's it, bang.
Yeah.
And I think we played against Marino or Southport in the friendly.
Yeah.
I thought, no, this is it now, boom.
Yeah.
And something just clicked and that was it. I got back, I had a couple of little knee operations, got back, then got a spur on my knee, then got hamstring injury, because you're still struggling to get back. I got back, and then there was another big change, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Another manager.
Yeah, Walter came in, yeah.
So I had 3 managers, 3.5 managers in the space of 2 years. So it does.
And there was a lot of changes in the team as well, wasn't it?
Oh,
At that point, So. Well, listen, we're sort of, we haven't got time really to go on to the last couple of clubs. But because you went to play in America, didn't you?
Yeah, I played after Everton. I went down to Fulham 2 years, and then we won the championship there. And then I started going out. I said, well, you know what? I've done my bit now.
Yeah.
Let me do a little bit. Let me enjoy it. Go and travel. went over to Charleston Battery in South Carolina, played over there for a couple of years. And that's when I started getting into a little bit of coaching,
Yeah.
the summer camps,
Yeah,
the
cool.
weekly camps,
Yeah.
and yeah, I started doing a little bit of work in the schools and in the colleges, started to meet different people. Yeah, and I thought, well, you know what? I've got to give something back because people have given me an awful lot. I give something back, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning about the game of football.
Well, the reason I'm not going to carry on with the close is because we want to talk about two things before we finish in the last part, and that is the World Cup in '94, which was incredible. I know for everyone, we all enjoyed it, and also what you're doing now.